Before the unification, Italy was not yet a country and wasn't officially named Italy. Instead, the area was split up into smaller kingdoms, most of which were under the influence of other European monarchies. Each state had a capital for itself and the people who lived there. The allegiance of the people was local rather than national, and every village had a different dialect from the next. Because of the relatively isolated location, the southern states were not as industrialized as the rest of Europe and the northern parts of the peninsula. So most of the people were employed by agriculture and trade was very limited. Austrian influence played a big part in the everyday lives of many citizens, which sparked nationalistic thoughts with many people. Our research question is, in what way was the unification beneficial to Italy itself as a country?
During this period of time, different national leaders gained influence through their national, liberal, and radical ideas. One important national thinker was the liberal King Charles Albert, who ascended the throne in 1831 and declared war on Austria since he thought they had too much influence over the kingdoms in Italy. Another key feature was Giuseppe Mazzini, a national thinker who fought for the unification of the whole country called Risorgimento, instead of just attempting to unite the certain regions of Italy. His republican views and criticism of the Church angered authorities also in other countries around Europe. His most significant moment of leadership was during 1848 to 49. Giuseppe Garibaldi shared the same ideas as Mazzini, who wanted the South for a united Italy. Camillo Benso was also a leading nationalist, but he favored a more limited form of unity through a monarchy rather than a republic, which brought him in conflict with Mazzini. He was successful in the ways that he expanded the railways, curbed the power of the church, and made trade agreements, but he was forced to accept Mazzini's policies and the unification of the entire country.
The ideological movement Risorgimento was a movement which supported the Italian unification. The movement wanted an end to foreign rule, and the unification should be based on a common language and culture. The group Young Italy was a part of this ideological movement and was founded by the nationalist leader Mazzini. Young Italy hoped for united Italy by promoting the unrest and violence in many of Italy's states or smaller kingdoms. Young Italy believed that this would lead to many people supporting a more peaceful and united Italy. Nationalist groups were divided about whether or not to fight for a limited monarchy or a full republic. They argued about which methods to use. Should the change happen gradually or by a revolution? The nationalist groups argued over which city should be the new capital. Many cities were proposed for the new capital, such as Florence and Milan. Italy's historical capital, Rome, home of the papacy, was not a likely candidate, as the papacy opposed the united Italy which the nationalist groups fought for.
The revolutionary movement began in Italy in 1848 with a local revolution in Sicily, and then it has extended throughout the whole country. Unfortunately for the leaders of the revolutions, their movements usually died down fast and did not reform the political, social, or economic landscape towards the ideas of socialism and liberalism as much as they would have liked it to. The outcome of the revolutions was that Italy could not feel free itself from foreign control. They even needed diplomatic and military support from a powerful country. Many peasants in the north and some in the south lost their confidence in the nationalist and liberal supported the Austrian soldiers.
The final stages. The new state had many issues after the war against Austria, such as taxes were raised, martial law was declared, the North-South was divided, and that has caused many problems. The population became even poorer. Bismarck's Prussia prepared for a war against Austria 1966 by establishing a series of alliances. The Risorgimento represented a series of local risings and struggles between different groups. Some groups resisted the ambitions of the new rulers, while the lower classes played little part. Their resistance was suppressed by traditional authorities and by those who achieved change. Mazzini's aim of united Italy had been realized, but his hope of a fully democratic and non-religious republic was not achieved.
The combined force of the country actually ended up ending Austrian influence, which was the goal of the unification from the start. Furthermore, the joined Italian citizens had more equal rights as a unified people than as a lot of divided societies with separate traditions and values.